spit. The fantasy, that you want to go in. At least it's a confidence building mechanism. They don't really go through what is signed as a contract or the engagement letter with them. So they just rush through anything. Then at the end of the day, the organizers who uses these ladies for sponsorship and the rest, when they get the vehicle and the prizes, which is announced to the whole world on the stage, they decide to deprive them of these vehicles. I've done, I think, minimum about 4 of such cases, this beauty pageant. The case is the person wins. They said you have to do 1-year project. He's not giving the vehicle. You chase them, asking them for the vehicle. They say, oh, no. It was not meant to be for the person. Some had to even write to the sponsors that if this had been announced to the whole public that you're winning this, if we don't get it, I will go to court.
Now, Ms. Ghana is being handled by Ghana, I think it's exclusive media, yes, Inner Party. So which these 4, how many of them have you handled under Inner's regime?
I think for Inner, I handled 1. I handled 1 of the things. I think most of the things they are saying, these are the same things that came to me. And they have refused to have given the vehicle that the person had won.
What did the contract state? The contract states?
Yes, the contract states that you will be given this. Now, when they are given the contract, they don't even allow them to read. There and there, they are just giving the document, sign it. You don't have opportunity to give it to your lawyer, give it to anybody to read. So at the end of the day, even if you ask them for a copy of the contract, you are not given.
Now, in this particular case, how did it end? You got a client. How did you pursue the case, and how did it end?
This was somebody who was keeping some of the documents, and when I think they won.
She was lucky enough to have some of the documents.
Yeah, she had some documents. We looked at the contract. It was fairly badly crafted, but we said yes. So far as the whole world has been made.
She had signed already.
She had signed. Even she just went there whilst they were, engaging. They said, oh, this is a document signed, and says when I win, I will do a project. And this. So it came to a time she has to do all that. And they kept shifting the goalposts. You haven't done this, so we'll strip off the title from you. We'll give it to another person, the first runner-up or the second runner-up. And the person had also asked that, then give me my vehicle, let me walk away. If you want to strip off, let me have it. And she's like, I won't give you the vehicle because the vehicle was bought by me. And I was like, you bought by you when you had sponsors. So we wrote to the sponsors and said they should give us the documents covering the said vehicle so that we can register it in the name of the person who won. It was when the sponsor wrote back to the Miss Ghana to find out that we had threatened to take them on, that I think the issue was resolved. You had to make the documents available, and the person had to take the vehicle. The other one, we had been in court, and the person was even stripped of the title.
So with this person who was given the vehicle, did she have a title? Was she able to go for Miss World and all that?
Yeah, the person was frustrated. That because you are not doing our bidding or what we said you should do, we are stripping you off. But the person was able to go, but the frustration continued. That they had to even seize their passport. There were a lot of things, impediment put on her way.
When she was back or before she went for?
I think she was back, seized the passport. And I said, how can you seize somebody's passport? Because the person hadn't done your bidding.
What was the bidding at that time?
I believe the person was to stay with the group, were to meet some guests, and, the person was like, meet guests and other things. So we went for a program. When we finished the program, I have my liberty to leave or stay for some time and come. And It's like, no, you can't stay for more than years, whilst you even have a valid visa. The other one we went was the person, they threatened to strip off the person. We had to go to court, take an injunction, and the person was made part of the fun. I think it was Miss World or the Africa Universe, one of them. The person had to join when the other competitors had come and they were going to replace her with the first or second runner-up. The court had to say she should participate. She participated. But at the end of the day, she was made to, I think she had some position. But we fought. And we had the vehicle, even with that, we even had problems because they could not get the key. But the interesting thing, when we finished the case against, this was not the exclusive, it was one. The person had a problem, a case, and came to me and said, lawyer, the way you fought vigorously for that lady, I want you to represent me because you really, really fought. And I was like, this was deliberate. You see, they are young ladies. People just want to exploit them. They are novice. I think when this pageant thing starts, they should give them the opportunity to look at the contract, what they are supposed to do. And there should be limits as to what they can do. Because I think that it's a part that they are using to exploit them, these young ones.
But in all the conversations you've had with your clients, has it come up in any of the conversations that they were asked to go, sleep with big men in coats to bring money and all that? Did that come up in any of the conversations?
Really, they don't put it blunt. They don't put it blunt. It will be like, you have to go to visit the sponsors. The sponsors have to you have to make sure that you garner some support, some money, so you are, chaperone to meet some of these so-called big men or people who are your fans. So the people start to be, nice and funny. But it depends on you as a person. I believe it is when they don't see you doing such a bidding that they get agitated and say, we will strip you off, because it gives me the impression they're also using it as an opportunity to make money or to build some relationship with these so-called sponsors. So for their benefit, but not for the benefit of the participants. So those are the things that it's done. And I believe also that we have to really, really look at it. It's a good concept. It's something that it builds confidence for them. It transforms them a lot. You speak, while they speak, their attitude. But I think the other side. Now, the people who organize this also sometimes feel that they know people, they drop names, and so if you do anything, I know people who will shut you down, you won't get to go, and they walk on corridors of power. So they drop names and they feel that they intimidate the people. And they are young girls. When they hear some of, let me use it advisedly, some of these big, big names, they feel intimidated and say, oh, this person knows this person. Yeah, this is how they do. So when you are being intimidated, it's difficult for them to even come out to say.
Has it also been a case where any of your clients has told you that, we were told specifically that we had to raise money prior to, the winning that, as in your clients going for Miss World, was she asked to go raise the money to pay her registration and all that? Was that the case in your clients?
I think one of them was to raise their own
money for Miss
money.
World?
Yeah, money to travel. I think
was that binding in the contracts that they signed?
No, you don't find those things in the contract. That's why I'm saying that they signed a document purporting to be a contract, and this contract is not even made available to them. It's not made available to them, so you don't really see. It is when you probe and you push further that you are giving some document that is the contract, and they're not giving the opportunity to look at it, review it with an expert who will look at it and say that, yes, we can do it up to this point. from this point is a no-go area.
Now, people have stated, some of the pageants have stated that, especially the Miss Ghana 2010, if she had her own way, she would let Miss Ghana be stripped of exclusive media in this outfit. Now, for you as a lawyer who has dealt directly with a case that had to do with her, looking at the things that she has done or she did in that case, do you think that, maybe her outfit should be looked at properly and what she does must be looked at again?
I don't think I want to personalize it. Yes, I think some of the things done, we should have the tourism ministry or the creative arts look at it so that they set standard rules as to the way going forward. Because some of the things that are done by the organizers, you have no idea.
Amazingly, this year's was in partnership with government. This year's Miss Ghana was Miss Ghana at 60, and it was in partnership with government.
You know, not to... really, when I saw it, I think I was watching telly one of the days when I saw that this was going to be in partnership of Ghana. I'm a lawyer. Lawyer, you are not supposed to speak and say anything that you do with your client. But I had some reservation. I was like, wow. Because we deal with people, we know who they are, we know, but you're not supposed to talk. As a lawyer, there is a privilege between what your client tells you and unless you have the instruction of your client, that's when you can only speak. But if you don't have the instruction, so I was a little bit, and so maybe, people walk on corridors of power. Maybe they meant it very well that we want something good to be done. And I always say in everything, in every government and others, people have their own agenda. So there will be a scandal. I would just live to see that in human arrangements, because people have vested interest in things they want to do, although it will be, well thought, not evil or ill thought, somebody has an agenda and there will always be scandal. So in doing things, you always have to be very careful to find out that, look, people within the fifth columnists and others who may bring you into disrepute, you are able to check them. Yes, you can't write it away. You'll find it in government, you'll find it everywhere.
As a lawyer, this is the last one on this issue. The winner at the moment, Margaret Derry, we are told, the speculations that she's still not had a car, she's frustrated and all that, because, this was in partnership with government. What would you advise be done?
I think, to be very blunt, is that she should look at her contract. If it was announced publicly that she's won that, she should make a request for her vehicle, for her price, because they tell you, well, it's supposed to be on the night that you win, you are crowned, you are given this. So if you are not given, you have your right, exercise your right. Go to court. Ask for, if you demand and you are not given, go to court.
Some sponsors pulled out prior to the event. It could have been the reason she's not been able to provide the car and all the other things.
So why was the announcement made? This was a contract. It was based on this, that the offer was made. You accepted the offer. You went in. The consideration that you have to do is the performance. So you have performed. They need to perform their part. Take them on. I think when we start to exact and exercise our rights for some of this, people would take people serious and say, look, it's not a child's play that we say it at the end of the day, or we won't give it to them. No, I think, when you see, it gives me, because I've been to court twice, the organizers from that time had been very careful. They knew. At first they thought, oh, it won't get anywhere. They were saying, oh, it won't get anywhere. This won't get anywhere. And I said, I would pursue it. And when we pursued, at the end of the day, we had it. Because publicly, you are told the public. It comes into the newspapers, the televisions, electronic media takes over that you have won this. This is what the sponsors have said. So if they come and say they have pulled out, they have made an offer, we accepted, we have performed. That's a consideration. 3 things. Contract is sealed.